Okay, welcome to my video series, Does Coiba Hide Monumental Ruins? And what I mean by Coiba is this island down here off the west coast of Central America. It's quite a large island, approximately 500 square metres. It has quite a long history. It was first sighted by Spanish conquistadors back in the mid to late 16th century. It was circumnavigated, but it was established that it really wasn't suitable for a colony. Okay, it was basically covered in jungle, as it is mostly still today, and there was a chieftain there of a hostile tribe, and they thought it was worth exploring other places first. And it's remained relatively untouched over the last few hundred years until the early 1900s, when a penal colony was established there. Panama's most notorious criminals, they were sent here. The conditions were brutal and many were killed. Many tried to escape. Those that did escape eventually wandered back into the prison due to starvation, being attacked by animals, very sharp vegetation, and so on. So it still remains approximately 80% unexplored. It's really only the coastlines that have been explored so far, but there has been quite numerous finds of pre-columbian artefacts. Are mostly ceramics. They found fish traps along the coastline, but not many people have actually ventured into the interior of the island. And as I'm just about to show you on satellite imagery, you'll see there's only, say, 2 settlements on there. There's an old airstrip, obviously the old jail, and an old military base used by the US. But apart from that, it's remained relatively unexplored, and no one really knows what is lurking in all the vegetation. Now, it doesn't make sense that a pre-Columbian civilization did live on here. At one stage, just before the Ice Age, they say that there could have been a land bridge quite easily going across to the mainland. And the mainland is modern day Panama, and as you can see, there's Panama City in relation to where the island is. It's actually governed by Panama, the island of Coiba. The only residents that now live there are a couple of rangers who basically patrol the island, and obviously there's some tourist groups come over to see the old penal colony and the prison cells, and at times there's a temporary military presence as well. There's also a research station there that the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute use to conduct studies, both in the water and on land. The wildlife here is very diverse. Obviously in the water you've got sharks and crocodiles. On land you've got monkeys, you've got all sorts of insects, large lizards, and so on. Now let's just have a look at this island. So up on the north here, it's basically the presence of the ranger station. And if anyone's coming to visit this island, they usually have to check in just here. Most people arrive by boat, as you can tell. There is a little island to the north here where there is an airstrip that I've heard used to be used. I'm not so sure if it's still used these days. Further down the coast here, you'll see that's the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute there. And further down here is where the old prison used to be. And here's the prison cells here. And there was obviously prison staff there. They used to look after them. I mean, it looks like a fantastic view, but whether they got to look out there much, I don't know. Apparently the conditions was very, very harsh, and criminals were treated quite poorly. And here's another old airstrip that was used once upon a time as well. There's remnants of roads still here. As you can see, there's one going up here. Obviously it doesn't get much use anymore, so vegetation has most likely grown over. There's a road down here that appears to head back across the island. Now, whether it once went right to the other side, I'm not sure. I assume it did. There's like a valley that follows this river across here. And if you follow it along, every now and then you can see remnants of an old road. Like this one here. So, over time and with no use, it looks like the jungle has just reclaimed that road again. But if there was a road there, I assume it was going over to this other side. Sorry, here it is here. There used to be a military installation over here for US soldiers to train in jungle conditions. And there are some old buildings over here, but modern buildings. And this either a road or another airstrip over here that was used at some particular time. So, the first bit of evidence I'm going to show you is something I saw when I was looking down the southwest coast of the island. I just happened to be following this stream along here. You can see the name on it there, Santa Clara. Here's the mouth of the stream, or quebrada, as they say in Spanish. That's where it exits into the ocean on the west hand. That's where it exits into the ocean on the west coast of this island. Now, as I was following this upstream, which I like to do, I like to follow the streams, they always seem like they lead somewhere. So as I was following up to this part, something I noticed just stuck out. And as I turn this around, something looked a bit different there in the trees. And when I zoomed in, I see this large face. It appears to be made of stone. To me, it looks like a stone face. Something on top of it as well. I can't quite make it out. It might be some vegetation. I don't know. I've got no idea of the age of it. And it's definitely not modern. And people I've spoke to about Coiba, no one has been in this area at all, as far as I know. So when I saw that, I thought, is this really some type of stone face? It was carved hundreds of years ago and has just remained not sighted, not investigated, not researched. I can't find any information on it. So if it is a large stone face, nobody knows about it. So you're probably seeing this for the first time. So when I saw that, I thought there must be something else around here. Now before I get to that, I'll just show you some other photos that I do have. I've just enhanced it slightly. This is just one with a different colour. Okay, so there it is. If you couldn't see it before, I've just circled it. It's right in the centre of that circle. It's overlooking this stream. So that's the stone face put through a few different filters. And as you can see, this one is like an X-ray. So it's showing there is something different there in front of the background. As you can see it in all of them with the filter. This one's probably a good one because it actually shows a different colour of the stone face compared to the background, which are obviously other trees and rocks. It looks like there's a large shadow behind it as well. Even this little sketch shows a bit of a face here. There's another shot of it through another filter. What does everyone else think out there? It looks like a face to me. It looks like it was carved. It doesn't look natural. It's got one big circular eye. And it's difficult to see what's on the other side. Is that a nose down the centre and an eye that we can't see to the right? This is also interesting, just behind the shadow, how it's very square in shape. And just use a run-of-the-mill shadows, which you can see down here. Very interesting indeed. Just want to show you some other things that are actually around here. Because I kind of thought there's a big stone face statue. Surely it's not just sitting by itself with nothing else around. So as I looked around, I saw this cutting over here. Look, it could be completely natural. This is where they might have got their stone from. To me, it has like a face type shape. And you can even possibly see an eye there. Mouth, neck. And I know some of the Mayans had a particular haircut like this, where they tied their hair back on top. So that could easily be some type of large geoglyph. Or I could be completely wrong, it could be entirely natural. And there's just some erosion of the land right there. Another little interesting feature is just over here, there's quite a bit of regrowth around here, which tends to tell me that land has been interfered with at some stage. Whether that's just a natural, it could be a fire, anything, but there's a chance it could also be human involvement. Just below there, there's this little area here. Now this is very blurry. And I'll actually show you some photos I took of this. Well, not photos, screenshots I should say. I'll actually show you some screenshots I took of this site 4 or 5 years ago. It's slightly clearer than what you can see now. And we can kind of see what's going on here. Here's a close-up of that area that I just showed you. Now it's still quite difficult to see, but looking here I can see quite a few shapes. They don't tend to look natural as such. I'll sort of zoom in here. Even at the top here, there's a different type of Well, it even looks metallic even at the top there, which I can't understand what that would be. And just below these round circular sort of shapes. And they don't look like boulders or anything like that. And they seem to be sitting in some type of square pattern underneath. So what that is, I really don't know. That's a mystery. Someone's going to have to actually go and stand there or fly a drone there and to see what that is. But I just find it interesting that it's right near the large stone face. And here it is, if anyone wants to look at it themselves. I'll put the GPS coordinates there. Now look, you mightn't be able to see it clearly on your satellite imagery. Satellite imagery changes a lot over time. I've noticed myself after looking for the last 10 years or so that I have to use 3 or 4 different types of satellite imagery, depending on the time of the day, also depending on the time of the year, the angle of the satellite at the time, the photos they take. They can vary from year to year, which makes it quite frustrating when you get a new update and you can't actually see what you could see before. So there we have it. That's the end of part 1. Until next time, bye for now.